What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the party, or the show, if you will. I know it's been a while. I think the last time I put a video out was sometime in December when I did a post-mortem on the wide-body CT70. Still got it sitting here behind me. I have literally done nothing to it since that last video. And guess what next weekend is? It's Mini Bike Mike's Garage. That's his YouTube channel. He's got a spring ride. He's hosting up in Martinsville, Indiana. If you follow along with the channel, you'll remember we attended last year. Of course, we're going again this year. Wouldn't miss it for the world. But this year, we're going to do things a little different. I'm not going to clean up a nice fancy bike and get all crazy prepping for it. We're going to take the Great American Monkey 1000 wide body CT70. And no, I'm not going to wash it. That's part of its character now. But if you remember on that last video I made, there's some things that need some attention before we take off again on it. So we're going to address that today, get everything prepped up. I'm going to take you along with me. I'm going to jump back in here. We're going to revisit some of the things that we covered on the last video, just so you kind of know what's coming up here. Okay, right out the gate here, you can see my side rack and rear rack system, if you will. It's all cattywampus and crooked. That's because a couple things broke. I covered it before, but I don't think any of this broke until our last little run that we made to base camp, where we were on the highway for a couple hours, I believe, running wide open. But right out the gate here, we've got this piece here that broke, which was not something I had fabricated. That's part of the original factory weld on those racks. And then the little, let me see if I can get you in there. The little internal nut that holds that has come loose on the inside of the frame, so that's gonna have to be welded. And then we lost an upper shock nut here, which is it's all integral to keeping this stuff straight. If you recall, the brake pedal has been, it's all out of whack. See how high it is in relation to the foot peg. It was bent multiple times while we were on the trip. I've got a new one of those to put on. And then speaking about foot pegs, you see my kickstand's hiked way up here because this foot peg mount, where the kickstand mount goes, is all bent up too. And it's been bent around so many different times, I don't even know if I can get it back to where it needs to be. So I've got a new set of foot pegs and kickstand we're going to throw on there. Otherwise, I think we're going to do an oil change, which I believe is reasonable given what it went through. Take a quick look at the spark plug, check tire pressure, tighten the chain, put a little bit of lube on the chain, and we're going to be ready to hit the road. This should be a really easy prep. I'll take you along for the ride, kind of show you some of the stuff I'm doing. All right, so I think how we're gonna work this with this rear rack deal is I'm gonna take this top rack and just swing it up. So I've already undone a bunch of the wiring and whatnot. Then what I wanna do is get this back into position, get that tack welded, get this thing here welded where it's loose on that nut cert deal. And then we'll probably pull this whole rack off this side, weld it up proper, and then should be able to put it back together. I'm also going to go ahead and start zipping this brake pedal off. I need to get that off anyway to get the foot pegs off, so I'm just going to set you up and let you watch me do some of that stuff. I did go ahead and I drained the oil. That's why you see the dipstick sticking out, so hopefully I don't forget to put oil back in it before I start it, but let's get moving here. These are all Loctited, so they're not coming apart easy, which is good. That's what I was hoping to accomplish. I can tell some of this stuff's under a lot more stress than it was when I put it together, so it may be slightly tweaked. There's no telling. We didn't exactly treat this thing nice, but there you go. That's what I was hoping to do. Get that up out of the way, and I'm gonna have to do a little bit of prep work on this stuff before I get into welding it. But we'll bring you back in when we start doing that. Okay, so I think I've got this scuffed up around here to where I can at least strike an arc. Get that. I'm gonna hold that, tack it into place. I was messing around here. I noticed that my lower mount down here, where if you've been following along, you'll remember I've got a nut cert in the frame. I can't tell if it's loose or if that nut cert is starting to walk its way out. Let's hope that it's just loose. But like I said, that last run we made on the last day was a long time at wide open throttle. So let me see if I can get this tacked back up here. Not welding too good through paint, but I don't really care. I'm just trying to get it to hold a spot. All right, that did it. Okay. I think I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take this off and then get in here and clean that up, make it look a lot better, and do a good weld on it. Spoke a little too soon there. I also forgot that I wanted to get this piece here tacked back up into place where I can literally fit like the broken metal pieces back together and just tack it for now, and then it'll all come together once I'm, oh, I got to find it. Oops. That's why you don't use moving blankets underneath your parts when you're welding. Two pieces of metal are stuck together. All right, guys, got it all pieced back together. You can see it's somewhat not crooked anymore. And if you're noticing that the left to right on those racks isn't quite symmetrical, that was done on purpose for the little bit extra clearance on the battery there, my auxiliary battery. So what I did is I, first of all, welded this back together, and then up in here, remember I told you there's like a nut cert in there. I got that stuck back together. Turns out this bolt that runs through is pretty long. It was bent, so I replaced that. My little $8 Amazon battery box there, a couple of spot welds broke on that early on in the Great American Monkey 1000 trip. So I fixed those up. Full disclosure, you know I like these Tycool lithium batteries. Well, the one I had out here, it was no good. So I replaced that with a one I had on the shelf. And thinking back on it, I remember when I ordered that from Amazon, I had a string of Amazon deliveries that I received that were like returned items. And that battery was one of those. It was like something somebody had bought and then returned, and then they somehow sold it to me as new. And I was so short on time at that point because I was getting ready to leave on the trip. I just said, what the heck, I'll take it. I'll run it. And I don't know if it was ever really 100%, but it is now. It's brand new. So we're all set up there. Even renewed my registration while I was doing that, see? But yeah, now we got to address this kickstand and foot peg issue. We'll get on that real quick. All right, guys, I'm going to pop in here and swap out these foot pegs. I did do some preliminary test fitting with my new brake pedal, and I'm a little disappointed, but you know, the new one I got is not the same as the one that I had on it, unfortunately. those are the kinds of things you run into when you start mixing and matching so many darn parts. I'm gonna take a look at it one more time after I get the new pegs on. I may just end up running the bent one for now. I mean, it worked for me for a week. It just may have to be that way. So let me zip these foot pegs off real quick. There's 4 bolts under here. They weren't real tight. Not real surprised after what I put that thing through. Now I've got this skid plate in here as well, which it's tied into the foot peg mounts. All right, that wasn't hard. Okay. I am going to hang on to this because there are some good parts on it still. The actual foot pegs themselves, and even the kickstand is not bent or ruined. It's just everything over here is just completely out of whack. I don't know if you can see here, but this is the new one. This is identical to the one that's on there now. Bart Motoco, by the way. And you can see this one. You can see there's a bend right after this area. There's a bend that's not supposed to be there. This side over here looks pretty close, but I think it may have been tweaked a little bit as well. So let me get that stuck up in there. This is going to go on the parts shelf. Okay, I got the bolt started up in the bottom of the engine case there. As you know, you're running those bolts into aluminum, which is the actual engine block itself. So, you know, I don't recommend, the tolerances on this stuff and the fit and finish isn't always exact. So you got to finagle it around a little bit. I do not recommend ever starting bolts with power tools. You'll see some guys do it, but you're just asking for trouble. I've got them all hand started. I'm going to go ahead and snug them up with this guy. And then I'm going to come back with my regular ratchet. Give it one little bump. This power ratchet I have here doesn't have a whole lot of torque, but it's good for spinning things off really quick. And you can use these like a hand ratchet if you want. I just prefer, I don't need that big long lever torquing on those bolts, potentially stripping the threads out. Would have helped fat it go in the right direction, huh? Okay. I'm just doing about a quarter turn. And that's all we're gonna do. All right, let's see what this, now this is my new brake pedal, and you're gonna quickly see what my problem is. So if you get that fitted on there, see it's hitting that right there. So what ends up happening is your pegs right here, you end up with your pedal being kind of at a weird angle. I don't know, I may run this. If this was to go back out on the trails again anytime soon, I would probably not run this because I wouldn't really be comfortable with that hanging as low as it is. And just to show you the difference, this is what I was running on it. And I actually stole this one off my 2025 Ice Bear Champion. And you'll see real quick the difference. See here, it clears that peg. But then because it's, again, we're mixing and matching parts, this thing's been bent and beat and slammed on rocks. You know, at this rate, you got to step up to press on the brake pedal. And that is not good business either. So I think I am just going to run this other one and see how that feels. I'm going to go ahead and get that slap back on there, get the foot pegs on, get the kickstand on, and show you everything once we got all wrapped up. I'm pretty sure you've seen enough people do that. You don't need to watch me do it again. Okay, got this thing buttoned up. Got the new foot pegs on with the kickstand. As you can see, it's not kicked up nearly as far as it was. So hopefully she'll stand on her own again. Did actually, I went ahead and ran that new brake pedal that I said I didn't like. And thanks to that big old wrench right there, I got it bent around now to where it clears the foot peg mount and it's not hanging down so low like it was before. Then of course the trade-off is there's so many different versions of these floating around. You can see it's fairly close to the engine. It's tucked in, not really centered on the foot peg, but I'll deal with it. I think you can see I spilled a little oil on the side of her, but this is a dirty old thing too. Look at all the dirt and crap falling off of here. I'm gonna see what we can do here about getting this thing started up, so just hold on. Okay, we're gonna see about getting this thing started up. This turned out to be a little bit longer of a process than I hoped it to be. I kind of wish I'd have done it sooner, but go ahead and see it's cold. Throw the choke on. I already turned the fuel on, turned the key on. Right here, see what happens. Now this thing hasn't ran since December, and it is now mid-April. Not a bad sign. Okay, let's go ahead and close this out. All right, guys, that's gonna about do it for today. Appreciate you tuning back in after that little break I took, but you know how it goes. Sometimes you just gotta live life. It isn't all about YouTube and motorcycles. So I think we're prepped and ready to go to Mini Bike Mike's Garage spring ride next weekend. I'll put a link to his YouTube channel down in the description. If you don't follow him, you probably should. He has a ton of mini bike content, specifically Honda stuff. But you know, for those of you that aren't subscribed, you might be seeing this for your first time. Go back, if you don't want to subscribe yet, check out some of my other videos, but you know, it doesn't cost you a nickel to subscribe to the channel, so why not? All right, I'll catch you up when we get to the Mini Bike Mike's Garage ride. We're gonna make a video on that. It's usually a good time. So be on the lookout for that and a couple other things I might drop here in the next few days. Thanks for watching.